Welcome to Alert Tales, where we dive deep into the most gripping stories of real-life experiences. If you love tales that evoke emotion, spark conversation, and connect us all, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community for more captivating stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
My partner, 29 female, is burning me, 36 male, out. My partner and I started dating around 2 years ago, and both her and her 5-year-old moved into my house 6 months ago. In the beginning, I loved this. Her and her son brought a new energy to my household and turned it into a home for all of us. But slowly, things have changed. I used to enjoy cooking, but now I'm expected to cook every night. And if I say I don't want to, she will sulk and claim I do nothing to help her. I can't play guitar anymore because the kid goes to bed at 7:30. And any time before that is spent preparing dinner or simply paying attention to her and her son. I recently started a side gig that has eaten into my free time at home and requires me to work late. Well, this was obviously a personal attack on her because she's done nothing but complain that I'm not spending more time with her. She will make plans with her family or friends on weekends and get all pissy if I say I don't want to go. She will push for every last ounce of energy I have in me, and then when I finally snap, say some condescending shit like you need to communicate better, or I don't understand when you feel like that because I'm autistic. Self-diagnosed, of course. She works 3 days a week and takes random days off all the time while I work 5+. She will do housework on her days off. I never expected this. And I pick up what I can when I'm home. But of course, because she has time to do more, I'm useless and don't do anything. Before moving in, she was renting a flat in a rough area while barely getting by. Now she's in a decent house that I scraped and worked my ass off to buy, talking about how she owns it. She pays rent, sure, but it's less than a quarter of the costs, and only because she insisted. I'm sick all the time now, like all the time. Kids are basically rats and her kid is constantly coughing on everything. I've tried to teach him good hygiene and germ awareness, but she claims that's just what kids are like, and yes, I understand he's around other kids, but washing his hands and covering his mouth isn't going to kill him. There's way more, but I can't give too many details because she is also on Reddit. I've slept like absolute shit this week due to having yet another form of child flu, and she has been extra pushy. I fell asleep on the couch after dinner and she woke me up to come to bed. Once there, she calls me boring because I didn't strike up a conversation with her through my fever-induced exhaustion. So I snapped. I'm on the couch now, seriously considering kicking her and her kid out. She has family who are wonderful people and will take her in. I'm sure they will see me as the bad guy, but I'm fine with that. I would rather be a big disappointment than spend my life being made to feel less than good enough. TLDR, I'm too old to put up with this shit.
I saved a girl from being raped and I still think about it every day. I'm a 27-year-old female and this happened when I was 21. I was at a house party with a fair amount of teenagers present. I was there hanging out with a couple of people my age. There were only 2 other girls, both maybe 16 or 17. At some point in the night, I was sitting by the bonfire alone and separated from the group. I noticed one of the girls sitting between 2 guys and didn't think to listen to the conversation until one guy got up and started making a lot of exaggerated gestures towards the other guy who was sitting. I listened and caught on that guy number 1 was trying to convince the girl to sleep with guy number 2. The girl was protesting in every way. She was slurring her words and moving in slow motion. I was frozen until the guy standing started tugging on her to stand up. The guy sitting started talking about the room they could go to. Every alarm bell in my head was going off. I felt a rush of blood drain from my face. Being drunk made the feeling worse, I'm sure. I ran inside to find her friend and told her plainly, "You guys need to go now." She didn't question me, didn't say anything, just went outside and got her friend and left. To this day, I don't know how she instantly knew how serious it was, but I'm so thankful she didn't brush me off or something. She saved her friend. Afterwards, I stayed around a bit to sober up but kept my distance. I was so shaken. I told the guy I was there with what happened, and he didn't seem to think it was a big deal. Said they'd known each other since they were kids and it was fine, that they're all drunk. She was more drunk than those boys were, 100%. I never spoke to any of those people again. This did some numbers, so I want to add a personal anecdote. I think a situation like this would stick out to anyone if they were involved in it. But it was a particularly healing experience for me. I was not a local in this town. I was only living there for a short while with my parents. I had moved in with my parents because I'd been raped a few months prior and it destroyed my life. I dropped out of school, lost all my friends, moved states away, and my mental health went to shit. When I was raped, another girl was there. I mean there, in the room, having sex with the guy while he was raping me. I was clearly wasted. I fell 3 times walking to my room and could barely talk. I couldn't undress myself. She let it happen. She didn't care. When I asked her the next day about it, if she felt like that was consensual for her, she blew me off and blocked me. She knew he raped me. So yeah, I'm glad God put me at that party that night. In that moment, I felt like I did for her what no one did for me, and I was thankful.
My best friend told me my boyfriend is her soulmate. For context, I met my best friend Julie when we were in middle school. After we met, we became friends pretty quickly because we were the same age and had a couple of mutual friends. After hanging out a few times, we soon discovered we had the same birthday, so we bonded a lot over that and basically built our whole friendship around it. We celebrated our first birthday as friends together and every single birthday together since. We were inseparable all throughout school and spent every moment we could together. We lived together for years and worked together for a while too. Julie had a hard home life growing up, so my family became her family over time. She was basically a sister to me. One day when Julie and I were at the bowling alley in the city we live in, we met a guy named Finn. Finn and his friends ended up hanging out with us for a while after we were finished bowling, and we all exchanged social medias. Julie and I became really good friends with Finn, and we all hung out a lot after that. A couple of months passed, then Julie and Finn started talking. They went out on a couple of dates, but after a few weeks, Finn told Julie that he wasn't really feeling a romantic connection with her, and he wanted to stay friends. Julie didn't express much emotion about it to me, but apparently she didn't take it well, and the feeling wasn't mutual, according to Finn. After that, Julie was still friends with Finn, but obviously tried avoiding him for a while. Things were awkward between them, but once they started seeing other people, it wasn't really a thing anymore. After a year and a half passed, Finn and I got a lot closer when I finally got out of a really long and messy relationship. We ended up going to see a movie one day, and one thing led to another. When I told Julie that I was seeing Finn, she did not take it well. She told me that she wished I would have told her I was thinking about dating him so she could talk me out of it. I told her it had been a while since they saw each other, and I wouldn't get invested enough for him to hurt me. She tried to convince me for the first few months of our relationship that it was a bad idea, but after Julie realized she was getting nowhere, she backed off. For the most part, everything was pretty normal. I would try to hang out with Julie and Finn separately for the most part so things wouldn't be awkward, but there were a few weird moments when they crossed paths. For example, one time Finn was leaving my house when Julie pulled in to come pick me up. I looked out my window when he was walking to his car, and when Julie passed him to come in, she said something to him, and her body language seemed off. Then she came in the house, and when she walked into my room, she said, "I just saw Finn on my way out, and he seemed really antsy." Maybe he was just in a hurry, but something wasn't right about him. Then proceeded to convince me to check his location throughout the day to make sure he wasn't cheating. I didn't think much of it at the time and just thought she was concerned for me. Once our birthday rolled around this year, things started to go downhill. Julie and I decided to plan 2 small parties together this year. One with my family, one with hers. Our friends were invited to both. The day Julie planned the party with her family ended up being the same day as Finn's little brother's band concert. I really wanted to go because I'm really close with his family, especially his little brother. I told Julie I might go to the concert and show up to the party late after the concert is over, and she flipped out about it. We got into a huge argument about it that lasted a few days, and I ultimately decided not to go to the concert. The party with my family went great, but I did notice that Julie was pretty short with me throughout the day. At the party with her family, there were a lot of people, so Julie was running around a lot, talking to everyone and getting all the food made. After most of her family left, a couple of our friends, Julie and I, were sitting around the bonfire in her backyard. After the conversation stopped out of nowhere, Julie said to me, It's such a beautiful night and I'd love to take a walk through the field, and she asked me to go with her. I hesitated at first, but she convinced me that it would be a short walk. She led me down a path through the woods beside her house that led to a clearing. I couldn't really tell where I was because it was dark outside. After we got about 10 steps into the field, she stopped and paused for a minute. I asked her, "Are we finished walking?" And she turned around and said to me, "I brought you out here because there's something really important I need to tell you." I said, "Okay, is it bad?" And she goes, "I'm really sorry if this hurts you, but you deserve to know. Finn Lassiter is my soulmate, and you two aren't meant to be together. Even if he's not mine right now, he will be, and the universe will make sure of it. I needed to tell you because I don't want you to be blindsided when your heart gets broken." I just stood there speechless for what felt like minutes. I felt more unsafe in that moment than ever in my whole life. All that could come out of my mouth was, "You're crazy," and I turned around and never walked faster. I walked right up to my friend Layla and I said, "Layla, I have to go right now, please take me home." She said, "Is everything okay?" And I told her, "We have to get in the car right now, please." So we got in her car and left. Layla asked me what happened, and after I told her, she looked shocked and said, "Oh my God, I didn't think she was serious." I asked her what she meant, and she told me that Julie has been becoming spiritual lately. I had no idea about this and asked her what she meant. Layla said she didn't know all the details about it, but Julie had been telling her about going on a spiritual journey and talking to higher beings lately. Layla also said she saw what she described as a very dedicated shrine in Julie's closet the last time she was in her room that wasn't there before. Julie told Layla she had been using a pendulum recently to ask it yes or no questions to see the future. Julie showed Layla how to use it, and they both asked it questions. Then Julie asked the pendulum, "Do I have a soulmate?" And the pendulum said yes. Then she asked, "Is my soulmate Finn Lassiter?" And the pendulum said yes. Layla said Julie's demeanor didn't change after that, and she didn't seem surprised. She just smiled and laughed a little and continued to ask something else. I haven't talked to Julie since this happened, and I don't even know if I can or what to say. I never would have seen this coming. I've spent more time with this girl than anyone else in the world, and yeah, the past couple of months we have been a little distant, and she has acted a little strange when she ends up being around my boyfriend. But this? I called Finn after Layla told me everything in the car, and he couldn't believe it either. He said he always thought maybe she didn't get over him because of how she took it when he ended things, but this was wild. I honestly don't know how to move on. Ever since it happened, it's all I can think about. And I don't know if I can talk about it with any of my friends, because all my friends are Julie's friends, and I don't want to cause any drama in the group, so I just had to get it all off my mind.
Fake names for anonymity.